Hello everyone, I am Virat Singh and you're watching The Other Virat Show. Today I have a very special guest and he is one of my best friends, but apart from that, a fun fact is that he is 10 years elder to me. Apart from being my friend, his other accomplishments are that he is a doctor. So without any further ado, let's welcome Dr. Pritesh Shetty, or as his Insta handle says, Dr. Saab.
It's Dr. Saab.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. Dr. Saab.
Yeah, you can address me as Dr. Saab. That would sound better.
Dr. Saab. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So before we get into the questions, I wanted to ask one thing. And since you're a doctor, and given the situations we are living in right now, how bad is it?
It's really bad. We are screwed up big time, and none of us are doing anything to bring the whole situation back to normalcy. People are not understanding. They are going out, and there is no COVID appropriate behavior being followed anywhere around the country. You can call it people's mistake, you can call it government's mistake, but end of the day, we all are going to suffer big time. So yeah, we are in a very big mess, and hopefully some miracle happens, and by next year we should be sorted.
Well, I hope so. It gets ended soon. So moving on to the questions. My first question to you is that why physiotherapy? So you're a physiotherapist, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Why physiotherapy? What gave you the motivation to become a doctor? Second, to choose physiotherapy as a career in medical?
Since a very young age, I was pretty much sure that I want to get into the medical field or medical industry, as I would say. In that, after my 10th and all, I started researching on various kind of courses, and that's when I came across physiotherapy, and it did grab my attention a lot. When I did my education, it's 15 years back now. At that point of time, people didn't know about physiotherapy, so there was also a very novelty factor into it. So that definitely did grab my attention, and the importance and the benefits it could bring into normal activity as something as simple as walking and all, which people were not aware at that point of time. So these are the main reasons why I got into it. And I've been practicing for the last 12 years and happily doing it. So took a good choice.
We can see that. So okay, moving on. My other question to you is that you were in Bangalore.
Yes.
For your medical, medical, right?
Yeah,
MBBS.
for my education.
For your education, sorry.
Yep.
So you were in a hostel.
Yep.
So how were your hostel days back in time?
Hostel days are definitely life-changing moments. They were extremely fun. Being brought up in Bombay and all of a sudden going into a alien city with people from all walks of life and trying to live by your own was a very challenging. At the same time, it was a very big learning experience for me. It definitely helped me in developing my personality, you would say. There were a lot of things to learn, there were a lot of things to unlearn, there were a lot of things to stay away from. Being in hostel, you can get into any kind of category of people. You have the good, the bad, the super ugly, everything is there. And I think I just made it enough so that I could get out of the wrong things and avoid it as much as possible, and at the same time study, be at a position where I am right now. So hostel was fun. If we keep on counting on the number of fun instances regarding running around for food or running away from the warden or the sneaky night outs and sneaking in at the middle of the night, as you must be knowing, hostels only have an entry till 8 o'clock and all, and sneaking out, sneaking in, these were some of the things that were very memorable events are there. But if I start saying all those things, your whole podcast will go for 24 hours. So that's it. It was good. It was fun.
Well, I mean, that's very nice. So moving on. My third question to you is that so you're a doctor, and of course you meet a lot of patients. You have treated a lot of patients, and you have come across patients of all age groups. Be it a kid who is I guess a 15-year-old kid, a an adult for say 20-year-old, or an old person who is let's say 50-year-old. So you have come across all age groups. So what kind of patients do you attend on daily basis, or usually do you attend, and how are some patients, like either some of them are very cranky, some of them are just for the sake of it they're doing it, and some of them don't want to do it but they are forced to do it.
Absolutely. So basically, I am dealing with more of neurological cases, be it of any age group. I've had seen patients who are like as young as 30 days old, and I have even also had patients who are 101. So neurological cases is my primary line of practice. Apart from that, yes, generalized pain and your generic conditions are also that we go through. As far as the patient type of people goes, it's too vast. There are funny people, there are rude people, there are people whom I would not even want to meet once again. That is the kind of attitude and behavior we do definitely get at sometimes. But at the end of the day, because they are patients, it's my moral duty to treat them whatever attitude they are having, be it good, bad. I've made quite a few good friends being in this profession who were earlier my patients, and now they are really close friends. The difficult part comes when we have to deal with the relatives. Relatives, at times, the people who are coming along with the patients, they can be the relatives or the caretakers. They are characters. A lot of times they are they tend to talk to us as if they know more than what the patient does. As if they are feeling the pain that the patient is going through, and they are going through the suffering. So dealing with those kind of people is one of the most difficult tasks. On a serious note, when a very elderly person who is completely bedridden, can't walk and all, and we have to explain it to them that okay, there will be restrictions, there's only this much that can be done, not beyond that. So that is one of the trickiest part. There is another part where some people are influential and they come and they believe that okay, they can get anything and everything treated. That is something very stupid. And one of the most commonest things these days is people googling stuff and coming to us. So they are their own doctors. They are, as they say, from WhatsApp University. And if I'm doing something, they'll come and tell me, "अरे डॉक्टर ये करके देख लेते हैं ना, वो करके देख लेते हैं, हम साथ में बाबा जी का योगा भी कर रहे हैं," and what not shit.
Sorry to cut you. So it's like जहाँ से जो ज्ञान दे सकता है, they try everything they can.
हाँ,
Without consulting a real doctor, they become doctors themselves.
नहीं, हमने पढ़ाई तो 5 साल के लिए टाइम पास में की है. इन्होंने जो भी इंटरनेट पे देख लिया, इनको सब कुछ पता है. So at times we play along. At times, because it's fun. We can't be in between all the sad patients throughout the time. So sometimes it's fun.
So that's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, that's my guilty pleasure. So that is there. So yeah, way too many types of people. Every character in the book, I think I must have addressed them till now. So yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
Actually, I was going to ask you this question in the later half of this podcast, that what the worst or the bad things that you have to do in this profession, but so we got onto it earlier, so it's fine. I mean, chalta hai. So moving on, my fourth question to you is that okay, before we move on to the fourth question, just off the topic, you said that you have to deal with a lot of patients who are not as good as or they're like अच्छे से बात नहीं करते हैं. They are very rude to you. They do not listen to you sometimes. Yep. So there are some cranky patients. Yep. So has it ever come across your mind, या कभी ऐसा सोचा है कि यार इसको ठीक है, इसको ऐसे करने के लिए कर देते, because he is not giving me respect, me being a doctor, that doctor ego, or some it's the doctor ego, if I'm not wrong. But that
see, doctor ego is a very strong term.
Yeah. Might be wrong.
Morally, I cannot do that. We have pledged an oath, and whatever be the patient's condition, along with his attitude, we have to deal it. how much shitty that might sound, but I have to do that. So there is a no. There is
he's a human.
exactly. There is no way I can say no to a person. If it is in my power to treat them, I can treat them. I have to treat them.
That's actually good.
Yeah, so then the fact comes into where they are being extremely rude and not listening to us. We can be very open about the fact that, okay, listen, this is the line of action that I would like to provide. If you are okay with it, well and good. Otherwise, there are other doctors also. If you are not happy with the way I am providing this line of treatment, or you can say the service, you always have other doctors. So there is no compulsion that only I am the best person in the whole wide world. Many other doctors, you can go ahead with anyone with whom you are comfortable. If you would like to get healed by me, then do let me know. I'm always that at your service. So that's how I deal with the cranky people.
Okay, so moving on. The fourth question to you is that we're living in a COVID situation, and of course, it has struck the world in a very bad way, in a very negative way. Every field, every job, everywhere, it is messed up. So, what were the effects of COVID in your profession? So, how was it before COVID, during COVID, and post COVID?
There is no post-COVID. We are still in COVID. Yeah. So that post-COVID, even I don't know. Pre-COVID was something we didn't even think about. It was a very generic way where patient would directly knock in. They would wait in the waiting area, come inside, tell us, okay, this is our problem, and we would deal with it. Now the scenario has changed completely. At this point of time, if I am attending to any patient, first of all, we are in a set of gear right now. We cannot be exposed the earlier way. So there's the whole set of these PPE kits, gloves, which have become more of a mandatory thing right now, because we are literally in gas masks while treating patients and all. So the comfort level as per se has reduced. Secondly, when we are attending patients, we are only attending patients depending upon priority basis. So if anyone just wants to walk in and tell me that, okay, mera tang dukh raha hai, help me out, I can't deal with that. We have to make a list of patients, what are their complaints, it is noted down on a paper. It is first filtered through your lower level medical technicians and all. After that, it comes to us. So it's not that a patient can directly walk in. After that, they come to us. That is when we decide, okay, these are the criteria of the patients that we have to deal with, because they are in dire need of patients. Places where the treatments can be held off for some time. For example, you have your basic surgeries for height reduction, your foot in alignment issues and all these things. These are basic small problems which can be even dealt with some kind of special belts and shoes and all. You don't have to go for a surgery or something which is associated with sports, which is not a very active issue. So those things can be held out without damaging the patient. So those people we cannot see anymore. Also, there have been a very much increase in we having to go to patient's house, because your extremely elderly patients who are bedridden and all, for them coming to the hospital is not at all safe. So we have to work out our schedule now in such a way that we are also in the clinic setup. Along with that, we are making out time so that we can see patients who are in dire need of physiotherapy, who are completely bedridden. So that way the whole functioning of our whole system has changed. The way we used to see the patients, it's completely different right now. Somewhere we have learnt time management more. Time effectiveness has more improved. We have started treating patients in a way where we teach them how to deal with their issues more, rather than we doing the therapy and all. So that way even patients are getting more educated regarding their own body and health. We are regularly keeping seminars and all for office goers. So your 9 to 5 job people, we are keeping online seminars where we teach them, okay, what are the things that you need to do so that you are in the best of your shape. So that is an extra thing that we have started off right now. And along with that, definitely there is COVID management. So patients who are COVID, who have just become COVID negative, bringing them back to their normal lifestyle. That is something new which was not there 2 years back. We didn't even do anything. It's like in this period itself we went through workshops along with the researchers which were available, started studying on that, and in a time span of 4 months, we are all of a sudden treating a new genre of patients altogether. So it's challenging, but we are going through it. Cannot say how successful or unsuccessful we are on that aspect, because it's a very difficult part. We're doing as much as we can, and then God's there to judge us.
Hope to be successful, because we need.
Yeah, we do definitely need to come out of it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, okay. Moving on. What is the hardest part of your job? We did that. What is the most enjoyable thing that you do, or what is the most enjoyable thing about this profession for you, and what's the thing that you like the most while you're doing your work?
Being in a medical profession for anyone, whenever a patient is in pain, they are kind of teared, they are tense. So the first point of time when we clear the pain of the patient, rectify the issue, he's at ease. So that satisfaction can be made out in a blink. So like we can have a glance and it's like, okay, we have done the job. So that sign of accomplishment and that, okay, job done is the most it's the most happiest point of the whole line, and that's for, I believe, any medical professional. Apart from that, for me personally, I am dealing with a lot of neurological cases, be it pediatrics or geriatrics, that is kids and adults. So when the first time, because of our therapy, if elderly person starts walking, or if say even a kid turns on the bed for the first time, which a lot of time kids are not able to do till the time they are like 8 months, 9 months, even a year, which is a very important milestone. So the moment they are able to do that, and when they are happy, the whole family is happy. Oh, wow. So that is one of the most happiest part of our field. And obviously along with that, the whole family walas and all, thank you, aapne bahut acha kaam kiya, and those things are fun. So
And of course the
yeah.
payments also.
Payments has to come, no? क्या करेगा?
घर चलाना पड़ेगा.
So yeah, payment is it's part of the job. That's for any job. But yes, when those appreciations and all, they are kind of nice. Yes.
So it's like a sense of ease, you are treating someone and you see a progress. So the first progress you see कि अच्छा हो रहा है, so it's like हाश चलो, I have done something, and it's creating a mark on the person कि he is getting better,
So
he's progressing.
Exactly. For us, it's more of a like the difference that we make in this place is directly human. If I have a good project, that doesn't mean the graph of the company is going up or anything. I am directly affecting an individual personally. So that happiness is always different. But the money and all would always come secondary. That
Money comes and goes.
Yeah, then it comes and goes.
Yeah.
So that's why this is the most content part of this job.
Okay, so there are some myths and some jokes that goes around in the doctor profession. So just one of the myths that or any of the myths that you would like to bust. Let's say for the age-old joke that doctors have a very bad or weird handwriting, and that only chemists can understand their handwriting. So doctors who are married, they have a very good bonding to the chemists instead of their partners. They have a very good bonding with the chemists because वो chemist handwriting ऐसे पहचान पाता है. But if someone is a doctor and the other one is not, the person will be like ये क्या लिखा है? So any scientific reason or any reason?
No, we have only a shitty reason. Our exams are very, we have to write very lengthy exams in a time span of 3 hours. So at that point of time, we are given this leeway कि थोड़ा फैल के लिख लो, चलेगा. Our teachers can also understand it, and initially it was so bad that in the hurry of finishing it off, we ourselves couldn't understand कि लिखा क्या है करके. But then over a period of time, you get used to it. And it's not that every doctor has a bad handwriting. Mine is pretty decent, so that is there. But the basic concept is we had lengthy exams, and the time limit. And time limit was very limited. It was very short. It is in 2 hours. If I have to finish off 10 marked answers. It's like 25-30 pages into us. That was a task. So I think that is the reason. Hopefully that is the reason I don't want to be called as someone with a bad handwriting.
So I have a small 2 questions, rapid fire you can say. So just what the first thing that comes in your mind, you just have to say that, hearing the options.
Okay.
So Munna Bhai MBBS or Kabir Singh?
Kabir Singh.
On what basis? The reality or in general? The movie wise.
Kabir Singh, the whole hostel setup and all was much more realistic, because end of the day in a college, it's a college life. Be it a doctor or not, it's a different thing. Yes, there were those elements that we could see in our hostels and all. Munna Bhai MBBS was just a funny movie which had no realism to it. So yeah, Kabir Singh was much more closer to the reality, and yeah, Kabir
Munna
Singh.
Bhai was more like dramatic movie.
That was pure cinema. That was pure cinema. There was nothing.
Ground
That was
reality.
fun. Yeah, I wouldn't say ground reality, but there was kind of realism. If you go to any college, I believe there will be the sense of groupism, alcohol, substance abuse, and all. These are part and parcel of all the colleges, and we have seen it. So won't deny from that fact that these things don't happen. But at the same time, it was way too intense in the movie. It's not, at least what I have experienced, it's not so intense or heavy. And yeah, then it comes down to who can stay away from it or not. And I believe, but that is for any college or hostel per se, nothing specifically to the medical fraternity.
Yeah, as you said, in your college day, in your hostel days.
Yeah.
You've seen it.
Yeah, college is a college. College doesn't change with your field and all.
Exactly.
Your education at that point of time, every 17-18-year-old guy is going to be the same. It's the education that changes the person, but the first year is the same. So those things are not out of the system. So they are there in, be it engineering, be it medical, whatever it is going to be there. And it's just how you save yourself from it is the task.
Staying away from it is better. It's actually good.
There is no other option. You get
Of
into
course.
it, you are
You
not
get into
passing.
it, yeah.
You are not passing your college, you are not getting anywhere, and most probably you're dying.
Hostel or no hostel?
Hostel, definitely.
Why?
I have, till my 12th standard, I was living here in Bombay with my parents. So you can say there was pampered, there was privilege, everything was provided over here. Over there, we had to wash our own clothes.
First thing.
Yes.
सबसे पहली बेसिक चीज
हाँ.
जो सबको आनी चाहिए.
खाना बहुत बेकार था मेस का.
So खुद से बनाना होता था.
So खुद से it was later on when we shifted on to our own apartments and we had to become much more independent. So it is a different flavor of life which helps you in growing up. So definitely I think that at least once the child should stay away from the parents, at least in the present case scenario and in the kind of society that we are living in. It definitely helps in developing the attitude, the personality, and brings out a new individual altogether. I would say when I came out of my medical college, I was completely a different person, and in that, being in the hostel made a very big difference. Had I done the same things living in Bombay, there would have been a lot of things I think which I wouldn't have learned. Something like cooking, taking care of the house and all those things. Here we have maids and everything. Over there, it was not provided. We had to do each and everything by ourselves.
So also recently you got married.
Yes.
So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And how do you make it work? Again, we are getting into the relationship part of it, which is not the अपना ये topic नहीं है, but just out of curiosity, off the record.
It's just a learning curve. It's along with time developing things. Won't say that I have cracked it right now, but as and when we are growing as a couple, we are working our times into it. I'm thankful that she has been very supportive. Where even if I'm saying that okay, it's 11 o'clock and I'm heading out for a patient or something, she understands that aspect of my life and she is perfectly cool with it. So that way I'm blessed. And then it's more of a give and take relationship. Like any relationship, every relationship has its own difficulties and all, and this is one of us. But these challenges, we are working through it, and it's going on. It's not something that we are going to end it, that okay, the challenge is going to get over. No, It is till the time both of us are working, these challenges we will have to face it, and how well we face it tells us how strong the relationship is. So working on it right now.
Best of luck for that.
Thank you.
So before we wrap up this podcast, so since you're a doctor and you have studied, you have passed your medical year, what advice would you give to students or kids who want to get into medical, who want to pursue medical as an option, and especially if they're going to physiotherapy? What advice would you give them to our viewers who are watching?
So a lot of times getting into medical is seen as it's very difficult, I can't do it. A lot of people do give up thinking that it's way too difficult for them to pass and all. It's not difficult, it just requires dedication, and like any other field, till the time you're dedicated enough, if you're interested, please go ahead and pursue it. Please do not do it because of family pressure, because that is one of the commonest things I've seen. I have quite a few friends who dropped out after 2 years, 3 years from the medical, and they got into the fraternity only because of family pressure, parental pressure and all. So only if you feel that okay, if you are interested enough, and if you have the dedication to do it, that is when you will be able to do a wonderful job in it. It shouldn't be an issue at all. It's not that difficult. Yes, there is a lot to study, a lot to grasp, but once you get the gist of it, once you understand what you are going through, the human body is not that difficult, and you can just get through it. It's not at all difficult. It's a very lucrative industry. We have very varieties in it, and for people wanting to make money, medical field is always going to be there. Till the time human beings are there, this industry is not going to fall. So ठीक है, धंधा पानी बंद नहीं होएगा.
So thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me over here.
It's my pleasure. It was a very wonderful session, and बहुत मज़ा आया, बहुत सीखने भी मिला, बहुत सारी चीज़ें भी पता चली. So thank you so much, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, and see you soon in the next video. Tune in for more.